Imagine a village. The year is 1348. The Black Death is tearing through Europe like wildfire. In some towns, half the population is dead within months. Entire streets go silent. But here's what historians kept noticing in the records. Certain villages, tucked into the countryside, had dramatically lower death tolls. And when researchers started looking closer at what those communities had in common, one plant kept showing up, growing along their fences, lining the roads, planted deliberately near cottage doors. A small tree bearing clusters of deep, dark, purple-black berries that the people called the medicine chest of the country people. That plant was elderberry. And today, over 700 years later, modern science has finally caught up to what those medieval survivors already knew. We're going deep on one of the most historically significant, scientifically validated, and still criminally underrated plants on Earth. You are going to understand exactly why this plant has been used by humans for over 2,000 years, and why farmers, herbalists, and immunologists are all paying attention to it again. Its full common name is European elderberry, and its scientific name is Sambucus nigra. It belongs to the family Ataxaceae, a family of flowering plants that also includes the viburnums. The genus Sambucus itself contains about 30 species, but Sambucus nigra is the crown jewel, the one with the richest history, the deepest research, and the widest use across human civilization. The plant is native to Europe, Western Asia, and North Africa, with particularly deep roots in the British Isles, in the Mediterranean, and Central Europe. It's not a vine, it's not just a small shrub. A mature elder can grow into a small tree reaching 4 to 6 meters tall, that's up to 20 feet, with a wide, bushy canopy and a trunk that develops rough, deeply furrowed gray-brown bark with age. In late spring and early summer, the elder absolutely explodes with life. It produces enormous, flat-topped clusters of tiny, creamy white flowers called corymbs. Each flower head can be up to 25 centimeters across, and a single tree may carry hundreds of them at once. The fragrance is light, almost honey-like, and these flowers are themselves edible and medicinal. By late summer and early autumn, those flower clusters transform into dense, drooping bunches of tiny berries, each one no bigger than 5 to 6 millimeters in diameter, and turning from green to deep red to an almost black purple when fully ripe. The flowers, the berries, the bark, the leaves, and even the roots have documented uses, though with very different safety profiles. The berries and flowers are the medicinal stars. The bark and raw leaves contain cyanogenic glycosides and should never be consumed. A natural defense system the plant evolved against herbivores. This is not a casual plant. It is a pharmacological powerhouse wrapped in humble countryside clothing. One of the reasons elderberry has survived and spread across human civilization is that it is, by nature, an opportunist. It doesn't demand perfect conditions. It finds edges. The border of a forest, the side of a road, a riverbank, a forgotten fence line, and it thrives there. But to grow it intentionally, and well, you need to understand what it prefers. Sambucus nigra grows best in temperate climates, meaning regions with 4 distinct seasons, moderate rainfall, and no extreme temperature swings. It tolerates cold winters down to approximately -20 degrees Celsius, -4 degrees Fahrenheit, making it hardy across most of continental Europe, the United Kingdom, large parts of the United States, Canada, and parts of New Zealand and Australia. It prefers full sun to partial shade, though maximum berry production happens in full sun exposure. Soil-wise, elder is flexible but has clear preferences. It performs best in moist, fertile, well-drained soils, with a pH between 5.5 and 6.5, slightly acidic. It loves organic rich ground and is frequently found near water sources naturally. It does not do well in waterlogged, compacted, or highly alkaline soils. And the top producing countries of commercial elderberry today include Austria, Hungary, Poland, Germany, and the Czech Republic in Europe, with Austria and Hungary being particularly dominant in large-scale cultivation. In North America, the United States, particularly Missouri, New York, and Oregon, has seen a commercial elderberry boom in the last decade. Canada, the UK, and parts of Scandinavia also produce significant quantities. If you're starting from seed, you need patience. Elder seeds require cold stratification, meaning they need a period of cold exposure, typically 60 to 90 days at 4 degrees Celsius, before they'll germinate. Germination after stratification takes another 2 to 4 weeks. Most growers, however, skip seeds entirely and use hardwood cuttings, which root readily within 4 to 6 weeks and give you a genetic clone of a productive parent plant. In the first growing season, a young elder plant focuses almost entirely on root development and establishing a strong framework of stems. Don't expect berries yet. By year 2, the plant begins to put on serious height and may produce a small crop. Full production, meaning maximum flower and berry yield, typically begins in year 3 or 4 and continues for decades. A well-established elder can produce berries for 60 years or more. From bud break in March to full bloom in June, and then harvest in August through October depending on variety and location, the annual cycle is reliable and consistent. Berries are harvested as entire corym clusters, then stripped from the stems for processing, since the stems themselves are mildly toxic. Elder does well in large containers if necessary, though in-ground planting produces far better yields. It responds well to hard pruning, which keeps the plant manageable and stimulates vigorous new growth each year. From a farmstead, a market garden, or even a backyard, this plant is one of the most accessible and rewarding medicinal crops you can cultivate. Per 100 grams of raw elderberries, you get approximately 73 calories, 18 grams of carbohydrates, 7 grams of dietary fiber, and notable levels of vitamin C, around 36 milligrams, which is 43% of the daily recommended intake. They also provide vitamin A, vitamin B6, iron, and potassium. But the real story isn't the macronutrients, it's the phytochemicals. Elderberries are among the richest known sources of anthocyanins, a class of flavonoid pigments that give the berry its deep purple-black color. Specifically, Sambucus nigra berries are dense in cyanidin-3-glucoside and cyanidin-3-sambubioside, two of the most potent anthocyanins documented in food science. These compounds are powerful antioxidants. They neutralize free radicals, reduce oxidative stress, and play a documented role in protecting cells from inflammatory damage. This is what has driven elderberry into clinical trials worldwide. Multiple peer-reviewed studies, including a landmark 2016 randomized controlled trial published in Nutrients by Tiralongo et al., found that elderberry supplementation significantly reduced the duration and severity of colds in air travelers. A 2004 study by Zake Rones et al. In the Journal of International Medical Research found elderberry extract reduced influenza duration by an average of 4 days compared to placebo. The mechanism? Elderberry flavonoids appear to inhibit viral entry into host cells and simultaneously stimulate cytokine production, boosting the body's own immune signaling. There is also substantial research into elderberry's anti-inflammatory properties, relevant to conditions like arthritis, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic syndrome. The anthocyanins have been shown in multiple studies to reduce markers of inflammation, including C-reactive protein, CRP, and interleukin, Demerin-6, IL-6. In terms of medicinal products, elderberry is now commercially produced as standardized syrups, lozenges, capsules, gummies, and liquid extracts, sold globally under brands and in pharmacies. The global elderberry extract market was valued at over $1 billion by 2022 and is projected to keep growing as consumer interest in immune-supportive botanicals rises. For animals, elderberry has documented applications in poultry and livestock feed research. Studies have explored elderberry pomace, the pulp left after juice extraction, as a natural antioxidant feed additive for broiler chickens, with results showing improved growth performance and reduced oxidative stress markers in tissue. Its use as a natural, chemical-free supplement in animal husbandry is an active area of research. The environmental benefits are equally compelling. Elder is a premier wildlife plant. Its flowers are a critical early nectar source for bees, hoverflies, and butterflies in late spring. Its berries feed over 50 species of birds, including blackbirds, robins, and thrushes, playing a vital role in the autumn food web. The plant's dense, multi-stemmed structure provides excellent nesting habitat and erosion control along waterways. Its fast growth and tolerance of disturbed soils make it a valuable species in agroforestry and hedgerow restoration projects. It fixes no nitrogen, but improves soil biology indirectly through its deep root activity and heavy organic leaf drop. The people of medieval Europe didn't have clinical trials. They didn't have labs or peer review or pharmaceutical companies. What they had was observation, generations of careful, patient watching of what the natural world offered and what it healed. And they got it right. They planted elder near their homes not out of superstition, but because they had seen, with their own eyes and across their own lifetimes, that it worked. And now, 700 years later, scientists in double-blind studies are confirming the exact same thing. That is not a coincidence. That is one of the most powerful endorsements a plant can receive. A single mature elder tree, or even 2 or 3 bushes, can produce 3 to 5 kilograms of berries per year, and that's a conservative estimate for a well-managed plant. That's enough to make your own elderberry syrup for an entire winter season, a product that sells commercially for $20 to $40 per bottle. You're growing immune support directly in your garden. From a farming and economic standpoint, the market for elderberries is genuinely strong and growing. Organic dried elderberries sell for $15 to $25 per pound in specialty health markets. Value-added products, syrups, tinctures, elderflower cordials, wines, command even higher prices. In the United States, the USDA has identified elderberry as one of the most promising specialty crops for small and medium farms, transitioning to high-value, low-input production. In Europe, contract growing arrangements with herbal extract companies provide reliable income for small producers. The economics are real, but beyond money, there is the matter of seed and genetic preservation. Elderberry, particularly wild-type Sambucus nigra, carries thousands of years of coevolutionary history with the insects, birds, and ecosystems of the temperate world. As industrial agriculture and habitat destruction continue to shrink biodiversity, maintaining and propagating heritage elderberry varieties is an act of genuine conservation. Varieties like Hashberg from Austria, Bob Gordon from Missouri, and wild-collected local ecotypes each carry unique phytochemical profiles. Saving and sharing cuttings of productive, locally adapted elders is something any grower can participate in, and it matters. And on a deeply human level, there is something profoundly meaningful about growing a plant that your ancestors used, that fed wild birds through winter, that bloomed in hedgerows for centuries before you were born. Farming and gardening are not just economic activities, they are acts of continuity, of saying, I am part of something longer than myself. The elder tree does not ask for much: a patch of soil, some sunlight, occasional pruning. In return, it gives you medicine, beauty, wildlife habitat, and a living connection to one of humanity's oldest plant relationships. Plant 1. Share cuttings with neighbors. Make your first batch of elderberry syrup this autumn and feel what 2,000 years of human wisdom tastes like. If this video gave you something real today, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Have you ever grown or used elderberry? I read every single one. See you in the next one. Keep growing.